incentive token. There's been some debate about the merits of incentive token. I don't know if you've caught some of what I've been up to lately on Twitter. I've been getting myself
with Funding Gym.
Yeah,
I was reading a little bit about that. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I got into a kerfuffle with Funding Gym, Breeze, and seemingly hundreds of other people.
Yeah. So what was his take? What was the whole spiel that went down there?
Okay, so I started off by genuinely asking on Twitter why people liked incentive token, because for me it was very self-evident that incentive token was clearly the worst option out of all Richard, and this is my opinion, you go on and disagree with me, was the worst option of all Hex Richard Art cryptocurrencies. Like, the one time Richard bothered to describe the tokenomics back in the bear market, he could not have been more wildly dismissive towards it. It honestly seems to me like the only two people who understand that incentive is inferior is me and Richard Hart. That was like my impression. So I started asking people on Twitter, and I was very unimpressed with the answers I was receiving. I was ultimately making the argument that I think that while, yes, incentive token can perform well in a bull market due to correlation, positive sentiment, yes, whales, hodling, and just the uncertainty in general, I grant all that. It does ultimately seem to me that incentive token fundamentally is only given out currently to people who provide liquidity. People who provide liquidity are highly incentivized to sell that thing if they want to mitigate the risk of impermanent loss. So you're essentially giving out a token to people who are highly incentivized to sell it if they want to mitigate risk. Now, they may choose not to. People like accumulating things, that's all well and good. But no amount of tokenomics can escape the fact they're giving this thing to people who are incentivized to sell it. And so given that, I think Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex, who are all having giant dips, seem to me like a better option. People like Funding Gym, came and said, hold on, Brandon, you don't know these things for sure. You shouldn't speak in such certainties. This does have some interesting tokenomics of scarcity. This could actually be just as good as a performer. So that was kind of the argument. What's your take on all that?
Yeah, so I think the incentive token is a onboarding tool, just naturally, right? And my camera just shut off for some reason.
They're trying to rug you.
Sorry, guys. But yeah, it is an onboarding tool, right? Its design is that of incentivizing people to provide liquidity, right? That's its number one use case. Okay. It is not a token that's designed to do anything else, really. With that being said, it does have some interesting mechanics to incentivize people to not dump it, which would be, the higher APY of pairing your incentive token with Pulse or something like that, right? So you have two ways to obtain the incentive token, right? You provide in the farms like Pulse and PulseX or something, those types where it has nothing to do with the incentive token, right? And you provide liquidity for assets that matter. Okay. And then the next step would be to take that incentive token and then put it in a farm of itself with a real asset. Okay. And then always have that one to be a higher APY than the other farms, right? So that people are incentivized not to dump it, but to provide liquidity for it, for people that want to sell it to actually have a price for it to sell, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a circle loop, right? So I guess you could say the useful idiots won't sell the token, and they'll provide liquidity for the people that want to sell the token and get out of it and buy other assets, right? So, that's kind of my take on the incentive token. That's pretty much what it's designed to do. However, people, like the other day, somebody bought $1 million worth of that shit. Good luck to them. But no, I don't think that it's really meant to be anything else except for an onboarding tool, right? And I mean, we can see that with Richard playing with the knobs. He started a farm for wrapped Bitcoin on Pulse and wrapped Bitcoin from Ethereum, which the wrapped Bitcoin on Pulse is worthless, right? You can't redeem it. It is what it is. It's completely worthless. He's just messing around with the lever, seeing what he can do. But yeah, no, the incentive token is an onboarding tool. It's very useful, to grab people to make them come over here, but its lifespan is probably not going to be that of Pulse Chain or of Hex, right? I don't see it lasting for years on end. Okay, so.
And we ain't playing it fair, we need billions. Going straight to the moon, don't need ceilings. Yeah, she fine as a whoop, don't need feelings. If she sweet, then some of these secrets reveal them. You could peep too, just come subscribe. It's brand new.
That was great, really great.